David Platt's recent actions on Coronation Street have brought him to the brink of emotional collapse, and this time, his fury might cost him more than just family arguments. The Platts have always had their fair share of drama, but David's latest meltdown sets off a chain reaction that no one in Weatherfield could have predicted. It all begins with Gail's desperate attempt to manage the family's growing financial burden following Bethany's disastrous cosmetic surgery abroad. Struggling to cover medical expenses and bring Bethany home from Turkey, Gail sees only one way out: take a bridging loan and sell the family house at number 8. For David, however, the very idea of selling the home is not just a financial decision, it's a betrayal of everything he holds dear. David's attachment to the house runs deeper than most people realize. In his mind, number 8 isn't just bricks and mortar, it's his birthright. Jack P. Shepherd, who plays David, explains that his character sees the house as the one stable element in a life filled with chaos. While his siblings Nick and Sarah moved on, building lives of their own, David stayed. His refusal to ever leave has fueled a belief that the house belongs to him, even though it's technically shared by the family. To him, Gail's plan to sell it feels personal, a decision that threatens not just his sense of ownership, but his entire identity. As the house officially goes on the market, David's frustration bubbles over, and it doesn't take long before his simmering resentment turns into a full-blown crisis. The first major clash comes when Carla Connor expresses interest in buying the property. She arrives with what she believes is a simple offer, but David greets her like an intruder. What might seem like a routine business transaction to Carla is, to David, a declaration of war. The usually composed Carla is thrown off by the intensity of David's reaction, his hostility, sarcasm, and refusal to engage rationally. The confrontation is both humorous and unsettling, with David treating Carla's inquiry as though she were trying to steal the house right out from under him. Jack P. Shepherd reveals that these scenes were a rare treat for him and Alison King, who plays Carla, as their characters seldom share screen time. Despite the tension in the storyline, the actors found moments to inject humor into the chaos, creating an awkwardly amusing back and forth. But while the comedic moments offer some relief, the conflict soon spirals into something far more serious. David's fury reaches a boiling point when the estate agent arrives to place a "for sale" sign in the front garden. Watching the sign go up feels like the final nail in the coffin for David, and he completely loses control. In a fit of rage, he storms outside, ripping the sign from the ground and nearly getting into a physical altercation with the agent. His shouting echoes through the neighborhood, drawing the attention of everyone around, including Gail, who watches the spectacle unfold from the sidelines, her expression a mix of disappointment and heartbreak. The stress of the confrontation becomes too much for her fragile heart to bear. As David continues his tirade, oblivious to the impact his actions are having, Gail collapses, clutching her chest. The sight of his mother lying unconscious sends a jolt of panic through David. But it's too late. Gail is rushed to the hospital, leaving David overwhelmed with guilt. In the quiet moments that follow, David is left alone with his thoughts. Sitting on the front steps of the house he fought so desperately to keep, he wrestles with the weight of his actions. His mind races, haunted by the years of turmoil he has caused Gail, not just today, but throughout their turbulent history. Jesse Chadwick, noticing David's distress, approaches him cautiously, hoping to draw him out of his emotional shell. David's defenses falter, and in a rare moment of vulnerability he admits the truth. He's been a source of constant stress for his mother, especially with the added strain of Bethany's situation and the house sale. It's a bitter realization, one that leaves David grappling with the possibility that his obsession with the house might have pushed Gail to the brink. As the family gathers at the hospital, the atmosphere is thick with fear and regret. David, Nick, and Sarah pace the waiting room, their faces etched with worry. The thought of losing their mother weighs heavily on them all, but for David, the guilt is unbearable. Every heartbeat of Gail's fragile recovery feels like a countdown, each second reminding him of the role he played in her collapse. The once fiery defiance in David's eyes is now replaced with a deep sense of remorse, as he silently prays for a chance to make things right. The siblings exchange tense glances, united by their concern but uncertain how to move forward if the unthinkable happens. The storyline brings David's character arc full circle, forcing him to confront the emotional consequences of his actions. The house, which once symbolized stability and control for David, now feels like a hollow victory. Even if Gail recovers, the question remains, can she forgive him for the stress he's put her through, or has David finally crossed a line that cannot be undone? The Platts have weathered countless storms before, but this time the damage may be irreparable. David is left to contemplate the harsh truth that sometimes even the strongest bonds can break under the weight of unresolved trauma and relentless conflict. This chapter in Coronation Street offers a raw and unfiltered look at the complexity of family dynamics, showcasing the fine line between love and resentment. As fans eagerly await the outcome, one thing is certain. The consequences of David's actions will ripple through the Platt family for years to come. Whether this is a wake-up call for David or the beginning of even greater turmoil, the future remains uncertain. For now, all they can do is wait, and hope that Gail's strength will pull her through one more time.